Hey y'all, today we are going to talk about how to go from spray and pray to knowing exactly how to get your next client. Now, if for some reason you're not familiar with that terminology, spray and pray. It's basically the same thing as throwing spaghetti at the wall. It means you just aren't really sure what you're doing. You're going to just try a bunch of things and you're going to see what happens. Now, usually this is associated with sort of a bad connotation of like, well, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know if it's going to work, you can't depend on the results, and those type of things. But spray and pray can be a wonderful thing if you look at it with the right kind of attitude. Now, whenever you're starting your business, whenever you are trying to up level, if you're launching a new product, whatever cycle of business you're in, anytime you're going to expand, there's going to be a part of that that is uncomfortable because you don't know and you're not sure, you don't have all the answers, right? You really don't know. And so that can be extremely uncomfortable. And I always say it's kind of like puberty, it's not the most fun. It can be really awkward, but nobody gets to bypass that, right? Everybody has to go through that stage to get to what's on the other side. And the same is true for you in your business. Again, if you're starting, if you are trying something new, if you're launching a new product, whatever that might be. But this can be, I believe, the most magical time of your business if you look at it, if you approach it with the right kind of intention and the right kind of mindset. And so that's exactly what we're going to talk about here today. So first of all, you just have to embrace it. You have to know that this is just a period, it's just a season, it's necessary, and there is something wonderful on the other side. And I think that it's really interesting how so many times you hear people that have these like amazing success stories and they say, oh gosh, I had no idea what I was doing. Like if I had known then what I know now, I probably never would have tried these things. I would have had a lot of emotion attached to this. I would have felt this way about that. And that's so true. And that's why this can be so magical, because when you don't know all the answers, when you don't have it all figured out, you're so open to new things, to being creative, to getting those intuitive downloads. But when you are so focused in and holding so tightly to what you want the result to be and thinking that it has to look a certain way and it has to feel a certain way and it has to happen in a certain timeline, that's when it feels terrible to be in this place, right? You can easily have like really high days, really low days. You can feel really disappointed. And you often can end up just quitting and never getting to the other side of that. You just trade one awkward feeling and this awkward phase for a different awkward phase in search of a way to kind of get around it when you just can't. You have to do it. So, my number one tip is to embrace it and know that this can be an amazing time of your business. That if you are accepting of that, if you're approaching your business with curiosity and it's like, well, let's just see. Let's just see if this works. Let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of results I can get, and then we'll take it from there versus it has to go this way. If it doesn't go this way, it means I'm a failure. It means I'm suck. It means I'm not good at this. All of those kind of things. You can have a completely different experience. And in all honesty, the more open you are, the faster you're going to move through it. Okay. So, my second tip is that when you are deciding, like, yes, we're going to spray and pray and it's going to be amazing, that there are a few ways that you can really make this experience even better. So, besides the mindset of embracing it, there's two things that I want you to remember. One is that you have to get really specific about your goals. And I think a lot of times that we can really kind of screw ourselves when we think about goals and we think about it like, okay, well, it's got to be this dollar amount. I want to get like 20 clients. I want to make $50,000. It's got to happen in 6 months. And I'm only going to do XYZ. Like that means that I've really hit my goal. So I want you to think about goals in a little bit of a different way. So this really plays well with this openness and this creativity. Like definitely there are times to be really specific with your goals. But when we are opening ourselves up for creative inspiration, for guidance, for downloads, for, the universe, whatever, all of those things, right? Then we want to have a more open approach to goals by getting specific about the intent. Okay, so let me explain because this is so helpful when you're trying to open up, right? Your intention can get confused, like I said, with being really specific about your goals. It's got to look this way, got to happen this way, got a specific number. Because a lot of times, too, I think that we're taught if we want to manifest, we got to get specific. But it's much more important to be specific about what your intention is. What is your goal really? And so when you ask yourself why, like, why do I want this? Why is this important? Then you're going to have a completely different outlook. So instead of thinking about it for, I want to make, X amount of money, maybe instead you think about it like, I want to serve X amount of people or more. And that way, your money could come in different ways. Your clients could have different things. Like, you don't want to close yourself off so much that you're not open for other things. So really think about what is your top value and what is the intention behind like this thing that you're working towards, whether it's launching that new product, launching a business. Of course, these are all really different. And it's nice to just get dreaming with it. Like, what would feel really good? What would feel really good in 6 months? So maybe it's just knowing that you can consistently get clients. Like, that's a great goal, right? And that's going to lead to all those other things that you want. So you may want a certain amount of clients and a certain amount of money, but what you really want is to feel financially secure. And that can come in different ways. Like, who knows, right? The universe may bring you a part-time contract job. The universe might bring you, a mysterious check in the mail. Like, who really knows what it could be? So think about that instead of getting so drilled into exactly what it's got to look like, what it has to be a time frame on. And I've actually used that before. Like, this is the way I want to feel in 6 months. And, like I said, you really don't know it's going to happen, but you're not going to be mad about it, right? You're going to get the thing that you wanted, but without being so drilled down on it that you're not allowing the actual things that have to happen to get you where you want to be because you're trying to control it so much. So the last thing is that instead of, and this is just really more of a strategy. So we talked about the mindset, and then we talked about something that's a little bit more of like goal and kind of strategy. And the last one is really just a specific, like just straight up strategy. And that is, instead of throwing spaghetti at the wall, instead of trying everything, instead of just like spraying a little bit of, Instagram post and LinkedIn and a few lives here and all these different things, just pick one thing. I know that can feel really frustrating, but I promise you, out of like every business I've worked with, all the things that I've done, this really works. Okay. So if you want to get big results, you need to throw a boulder, not a rock. If you want a big splash, you got to throw a big rock. And it's impossible to do that when we are doing a little bit here and a little bit there, because in our minds we feel like, oh, I'm doing all this stuff. Like, why am I not getting more clients? I'm over here, I'm over there. I'm doing, and I hear this all the time, like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm doing all these posts. I'm, doing these lives. I'm sending all these emails or, whatever it is. But what you want to do is just pick one thing. Pick one thing. So maybe it's just going like all in on Instagram and experimenting with reels and using the audio messages instead of texting people, or picking 5 extra people to really have a conversation with and try to get people in the DMs, or whatever it is. You can just pick that one thing and then just get crazy with it. Try things, see what works, see what you like, what you don't like, and do it consistently for a set amount of time. And then see, which was our second thing, does it feel like you're moving towards that thing that you wanted? And if it does, and it seems like it's working, like, you do it until it's consistently working. So you get that client, and then you do the same thing and you get another client, right? And then you want to add on to that. So spraying and praying is not a bad thing. It can be a wonderful thing. It can be a way to learn how to market your business in ways that feel good, that actually get your clients, instead of doing what somebody else is doing and what works for someone else. And if you've been in this group any amount of time, you know that that's not the way I operate. I don't think that you should build your business like I built my business, or like this client built their business. I really believe in taking the basic principles of marketing and then experimenting, being curious, spraying a little bit, and seeing how you can adapt those things to you, how you like to build relationships, the way that you like to show up online, how you like to serve your clients, like things that actually feel fun and good, because business is not supposed to feel bad, right? If we just wanted to do what somebody else was telling us to do and not feel good about it, like we could go work for somebody else, right? Probably, some days it honestly feels like, I've heard every entrepreneur say this, like some days I think, wouldn't it be nice just to go to an office job and just do my job and come home? So, spray and pray is good. I'll go over these one more time. When you're starting something new, whether it's your business or you have a new product or maybe you launched a podcast, like whatever it is, you want to approach it with openness and curiosity so that you leave enough room to actually see what can happen, because it's a necessary process, but it can be highly profitable. It can be fun if you approach it with that intention and that mindset. And so the second thing is, when you're thinking about your goals, really ask yourself, why am I doing this thing? What is it that I really want out of it? Instead of getting so granular with it's got to be this much money, it's got to look like this, be more open. Really think about the intent. What is it that you want? What is it that you really want to feel? And again, why do you want this? Because that is going to open you up enough to let other things come in. Because a lot of times we set goals, totally guilty of this, and we hold them so hard that we don't let the thing that we want actually happen. It's like just sitting there waiting, like, okay, well, when you get tired of trying to do this your way, I'm here for you, right? So the third one is to make sure that you put all of that curiosity and your focus in one specific thing and do it until you figure out what works, and then move on to the second thing. So another thing just to add here, if you are thinking that I've been in business, but I don't really feel like my business has legs, it doesn't feel totally sustainable, I'm not consistently making money, and I don't know what to do, this is also a good thing for you. Pick one thing that you think has been working, even if it just got you one client. Like anything that you could say, well, this worked, even if it was just once, and do it there. Set a goal. How do you want to feel? Be open to this looking differently than you thought that it would, and put all of your creativity and your curiosity in that one spot, and do it consistently for at least 30 to 90 days and see what happens. See how close you are to your goal. A little affirmation that I love to use when I'm working towards goals is, every day I'm getting closer and closer to my goal. There's a few specific science-based reasons that there's that specific wording, but that's just like a bonus that you can use. Every day I'm getting closer and closer to my goal of whatever your goal is. So I love to use that. And also, I would encourage you, if that's you and you feel like, I'm not really sure where exactly to put my focus, to sign up for a simple strategy call. I love doing these calls. They're 30 minutes. They're totally free. And all we do is, you tell me a little bit about your business. There's a little questionnaire that you fill out before we get on the call. We have a Zoom. We're talking. It's just you and I, just like this. And I tell you where to put your focus. So you tell me what you've been doing, and I tell you where to put your focus so that you make sure that you are maximizing your results. So I'll put that link here in the here in this post if any of you want that. And just again, if you are thinking that you're like, I don't know what to do, and you feel like this is a bad thing, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing when you use these 3 tips that I gave you.